There are all sorts of ways to duplicate events in your project window. For example, if I were to use the handle, I can just click and drag the repeat handle to make new events, but there's a couple of other ways to do it. If you hold down the Alt or Option key on your computer keyboard, then click and drag any one event, it will make a duplicate. But sometimes you want to make a shared duplicate. So I'm going to undo that, and I'm going to do the same thing, holding down Alt or Option and clicking and dragging. But before I lift off of the mouse button, I'm going to simultaneously press and hold the Shift key. When I lift off, it makes a repeat, but you'll notice that each of those events have a little equals sign in the upper right-hand corner. That indicates that they are shared. That means that anything I edit in either of the events will be represented in any of the shared copies. For example, if I were to take this event and come down to the editor and change one note in the event, like this really, really long note, watch what happens to the other event when I delete it. See, it removes that note from both events. That's how shared events work. And you can always convert a shared copy into an independent copy by selecting the event, then going under the Edit menu, choosing Functions, and Convert to Real Copy. That way, anything that you edit on this event will not be edited in any of the events from which it was originally created. Now I'm going to undo all of the editing that I just did and make one copy of this event, but then I'm going to edit one note in it. This high note right here, that F I'm going to turn into an F sharp so that it makes a major chord. So I'm going to click and drag that note up, but you'll notice that the note is snapping. I don't want it to snap. What I would like to do is have it maintain its original position. So before I lift off of the mouse button, I'm going to hold down the Control or Command key, then lift off, and you'll notice that not only is the chord now a major chord, but the temporal position of that note did not change. And let's make some duplicates on our drum track too, but as you'll remember, it has overlapping events. So to make copies of both of those events, I would either need to merge them together, or I would go to the lanes and I would make duplicates by using the handle on each event. Or I can use the Alt or Option key to make individual copies of each one of those events. But then I'm going to do a little bit of editing here because what I want to do is put a drum fill in there. So I'm going to erase everything after the fourth quarter note of that measure. So I'm going to knock these back, but as I'm doing that, I'm going to hold down the Control or Command key to just remove those last few events. So by holding the Control or Command key, I'm turning snap off. So I want those last few events in there, but then I'm going to put my left and right locators around measure 10, and I'm going to record some new notes onto that track for the drum fill. And now that I look at it, the events here need to be trimmed off a little bit. So I'll select both of those and adjust their lengths until I get them right before that last note. I want to keep the last bass drum and a hi-hat note there. But here's the fill after I've done the editing. And there's one last duplicate events command that is useful. If I select an event and go under the Edit menu, go to the Functions settings and choose either Duplicate to make one duplicate or Repeat, then I can enter as many repeats as I need to, and I can choose to make them shared copies or not. So if I wanted to make 3 shared copies, I would enable both of those and set the counter to 3, then click OK, and it will make those events. And next, let's talk about track versions.